Welcome back, nerds, to another episode of Judging Nerd Culture. I'm Ollie.
And I'm Jess.
So today we're talking about Stranger Things, Season 4.
Yes.
I'm so good at this. Yeah, we watched it a little while ago, but just didn't get the chance to talk about it for infinite number of reasons. When we started watching this some time ago, I realized that I didn't remember what happened in Season 3 at all.
Yeah, there were parts that I was like, who is that? Or what, like, they would talk about something and I'd be like, what?
To be honest, I don't, like, when I realized Hopper was, in Russia and all this other stuff, I was like, I don't remember how you got there at all.
Really? That was like the big ending.
I know. I didn't remember what the whole plot line was with the Russians. I remember their shit was going on with the portals and the stuff. Mm-hmm. All I really remembered was Max and her brother being a thing, and like that was the plot that I remember. That was it. Yeah,
well, normally when a new season of something that we watch comes out, we will rewatch the previous seasons, but we did not do that this time.
No, I mean it catches you back up eventually.
Yeah, we were busy watching The Boys as well, so
The Boys, also very good.
Very good.
So, just before we get into like the nitty gritty cut up stuff, just compared to other seasons, what do you think?
I liked it. I did. I think it was just as interesting and sad and fun. Had a lot of fun characters in it, as the whole internet knows. Since they are in love with Eddie Munson.
They sure are.
So, I feel like even if you don't watch Stranger Things, you have at least saw his face somewhere.
At this point, yeah. I think it's fun because, like I said, I didn't remember at all what happened in Season 3, really. Mm-hmm. I just remember the character introductions and the fact that there was a whole thing with them and, whatever. But I think Season 1 or maybe 2 and this season were my favorite. I think Season 1 and 2 and this one because Season 1 was very...
You only don't like Season 3 because you don't remember it.
Season 3 I'm sure was good. I remember enjoying it. I don't remember what happened, but I remember enjoying it. The issue is that the Season 1 was very like, ooh, this is a whole new world. This is getting exciting. I like this. This is fun. And from what I recall from Season 2 and 3, they were more of the same. They were very good. But I don't remember them being quite as, the entirety of Season 4. We spent it thinking, oh gosh, something's going to happen. What's going to happen? We really wanted to see what was going on in the next episode because we assumed...
someone was going to die.
Every episode. And I don't know, it was just very suspenseful in a very appropriate way. And I just felt more engaging.
Yeah, in the previous seasons, I think my least favorite part was probably just that, I don't know, 1 or 2 episode bit where Eleven went to go see other survivors.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if it makes complete sense, since in this season, apparently a lot of them were killed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be missing something there too, but I don't know. That was probably one of my least favorites just because, it was still good. It was just less interesting, I guess. Mm-hmm. I was more interested in the weird creatures and the group of friends trying to battle it.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's funny too, because I remember her costume, emo 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
But I did not remember that she went to go see other survivors.
Yeah. You don't remember that?
No, I remember now.
Yeah.
After we went through and that was mentioned and everything, but at the time when we started watching this, I was like, wait, there was other people?
Yeah, they were. I don't think they really were ever mentioned in this season. The people who she met, they had different numbers and everything. The leader of the group was Kali Prasad. I
got nothing.
It didn't feel. I know we're not talking about the previous seasons, but it just didn't feel important. Mm-hmm. Finding her real mother felt important, But anyway, this season, everything felt very tense and stressful, and it was very good.
Yes, that's all I wanted to really say. It was just, I think this season is without a doubt better than the previous couple, I would say. Because season 2 was fine. But, like, I got nothing else to say about it. So.
Yes.
Do you want to do the breakdown of what happened in this season, or do you want me to do it?
I don't mind.
Okay.
So, season 4 of Stranger Things. They are now in high school. Yeah. Big deal for any kid.
Mm-hmm. Especially ones that never had parents and lived in a facility all their lives.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna have a great time.
And now is also trying to have a long distance relationship with their boyfriend.
Ah, yes, the easiest part of high school, long distance relationship.
And it's not short. I don't recall where the town is, but it's so far from California.
I'm pretty sure they live in like middle
Hawkins.
America, fuck of nowhere.
Yeah, probably like, I don't know, Indiana or something. But in high school, pretending everything's cool, not telling Mike or any of the people from Hawkins that she's hating life. 11 is getting bullied. It's a whole thing. In last season, she's lost her powers, so she doesn't have anything to fight back with. She can't get after the bullies, you know. So it turns out, without her power, she's very weak. She's very weak and awkward and doesn't really know how to talk to people very well.
Yeah.
Which is fair. Hawkins starts to see teenagers and people being murdered very, very awful. It is so gruesome, and I loved this season, but I hated whenever that happened. Mm-hmm. When they started to lift up into the air, I couldn't.
That first death, Cindy Lou Who, or the fuck that was.
Yeah, Chrissy.
Yeah. I did not expect that when everything just started cracking and popping.
I hated it so much.
It was amazing. I loved it.
I watched the first one, the first crack and pop, but when I knew it was going to happen again, I closed my eyes, and I wish there was a way, I wish I would have covered my ears as well, because I didn't like it.
Oh, yeah. A lot of celery snapping.
Mainly the jaw thing. Mm. I have a weird thing about that. Anyway, so kids start dying, and Hawkins is, up in arms because they need to figure out who's killing these children. Mm-hmm.
They decide to pin the blame on poor Eddie Munson, the head of the D&D club at school.
Yes, the Hellfire Club.
Exactly. Because as we all know, D&D is witchcraft, Satanry bullshit.
In the 80s it was, though, Ollie. In the 80s there was a case where a man killed a bunch of people because of D&D.
Okay, but that's just one guy.
Yes, but this is in the 80s. Okay, and it's based in the 80s. And this town, so the first victim of this murderer is Chrissy, this cheerleader who has been having hallucinations. She's very stressed out, having an awful time, living nightmares, very Freddy Krueger-esque. And she goes to Eddie Munson, who is the cool guy, I guess. He's
he's cool for a very specific set of students.
Yes, our group of children love him. He has been held back. He has not been able to graduate for 3 years.
It is a 20-year-old man.
Yeah, he's the head of the D&D club group. That's not really a club, it's just a group of friends. And he is very intensely, he loves D&D. Very good. I would love to play with him.
It would be a hoot to play with him. And as you find out later on in the show, he's actually a very nice person in some way, shape, or form. But to be around him when he's just talking about D&D, I could not stand it. It would be insufferable.
But he also sells drugs. So Chrissy goes to him.
As all do.
And they have a little conversation. It's really cute, actually. And it would have been so cute if they would have been friends or kissed or something. But then she dies. He takes her home, and she has her hallucination, falls into the sky, snap, crackle, pop, and she's dead. And he goes into hiding because nobody's going to believe him. Yeah. And nobody's going to believe that, he didn't mangle this poor girl. And so they blame it on him. And middle-class, white, rich boy wearing his Letterman jacket accuses devil worship, D&D, and Eddie Munson. And for some reason, the whole town agrees with him.
Yep. And this sets off a wild-ass witch hunt. Mm-hmm. In which they don't just hunt Eddie Munson, they hunt all of his friends down. And, some of which are 13-year-old girls.
Yeah. So, they figure out who the big killer is, our main group of kids. It is a monster called Vecna, who they call...
they call him Vecna.
Vecna, because it is the
D&D
character that Eddie Munson created.
He's a famous D&D villain. He's one of the biggest, final boss fights or whatever. Same with not the Demogorgon, but the Mind Flayer and all that stuff. They're all big motherfucking monsters in D&D. So the kids being so imaginative always name the bad guy after one of those.
Well, that's what they can, relate it to. But they figure it out. They figure out that he used to be a man boy. He used to be a man boy. He's I don't know. He was probably 20 maybe.
He was a dude.
He was a guy. Figure out that it's him and that he used to work in the same facility that Eleven grew up in. And that he murdered a bunch of kids to try and escape. 11 saved them, saved more people from dying, and pushed him into the Upside Down, which he kind of created a little bit. It was already there, but he kind of made it into his own
He colonized it.
Yes. He becomes this weird tentacly creature man, which I'm sure if you've seen him, I'm sure.
I've seen too much of him. You can't search Vecna on Twitter. You just can't.
They go through the rest of the show trying to defeat him and stop people from dying. One of the main reasons is Max, who is a core member of the group, who has vast trauma and is not talking about it. So Vecna sees her as a prime target and tries to murder her, and that's where Kate Bush comes in. That's where the music comes in to play. And I was hoping they would play the song once or twice, but they play it so often. It is still a good song. I still like it, but I thought it was going to be the major death scene of Max or her escape from Vecna. That's when they would play it. But then they kept playing it.
Throughout the
and kept playing it. And then they, eventually they're able to confront Vecna. Is he dead? That is questionable and probably will come up in the next season. Max is in a coma. She is not really there. 11 brought her back from the dead, basically, after having a rough run-in with Vecna. Mm-hmm. And when she tried to find her the way 11 does, there was just darkness. Could not find Max. My theory is that she is in the Upside Down with Vecna, that her mind is melded with his or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's probably in one of those, pillar cocoon things in the Vecna's mind Upside Down area. He's got to go get her.
Yeah, very possible. But that's the gist of it. People get hurt, people die, and there's a hentai monster murdering everyone.
Yeah, like I said, Twitter loves Vecna.
I mean, the first time you really see him, he's in this beautiful house, and he goes to the attic, and he hooks up to this organic material that helps him go into the real world and snap, crackle, pop people. And it's just little tentacles that go into him. They knew what they were doing. Come on.
I mean, yeah, they
knew it was going to happen.
It demands some tentacle hentai. It pretty much just is it, just live action. Uh, this season was the most metal.
Well, that's yeah, that's like to say the least. Yes.
Because like I don't like there's been deaths and things in other seasons, but this one was the most gruesome, the most like aggressive, the kids directly running after the villain and trying to kill it themselves. Like fucking usually Steve picks up something and tries to hit it.
Yes.
That's kind of his thing. Everyone's got a gun. Everyone's got a fucking weapon. They made Molotov cocktails. Like they geared up. It was so cool.
Yeah. Well, they were this was, even though the other seasons had their big villains, this season to them was a lot bigger because, like, it wasn't just attacking general population. It was kind of specifically attacking them.
Yeah.
And so they were like, okay, well, we gotta save our own. And, I don't know, maybe it was a little bit of the Duffer Brothers saying they're a little bit grown up now. We can be a little more aggressive with it. And also, season 5, I think, is our last. So we need to really drive it home, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you can't snap, crackle, and pop the kids when they're first season 1. They were like 10 years old.
Yeah.
But now
they're 20. Playing 14-year-olds is very strange.
Yeah, now you can snap, crackle, pop them all you want. Matt, let's get into the cut up and the review and whatnot. Vibe, I'm going with a solid 8 for me. I really enjoyed the suspensefulness of it. I enjoyed the higher stake feeling of it all. The only part that I was having issue with, like in terms of like just how it felt, was that because everyone was so separated, it felt like the story was never really, like, I know the point is that they're all going to culminate in one place, something's going to happen, but it felt like the story was being slowed down a lot by the fact that, like, 11 was off, doing her Yoda training. Mike and Will were just, dealing with gay angst without actually talking about it for a drive across the whole country. Like, they did so little throughout so much of the show, while the other group did a lot of shit.
Well, yeah, because they're still in Hawkins. They're in the eye of the storm.
Of course. I'm just saying, like, the way they broke it up made it so that whenever they cut away to the other people, I was like, okay, cool, I love Will. I want to see him confess his feelings. That's great. But also, get back. I don't care. I want to go back.
Yeah.
Like, even with 11, with her, like, whole Yoda training thing, because it was very, like, you're now learning more about Vecna, who he was, which was cool, but I also was like, I just want to see him shoot him. I just want to see them shoot him in the face.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just me. It was great and all, and it felt very suspenseful, but the entire time I just wanted them to move back to the other third of the show. So, like, gotta give it like an 8.
I guess so, yeah, that's your own preference. And that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I give it a 10.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, I think it's broken up like that to make you feel stressed out. Like, you're supposed to feel anxious and terrified. And even when it was with 11 and Will and Argyle. And Jonathan and everyone, when it was with that half of the crew, it was still fun, I think, because I fell in love with Argyle very quickly. And even though, I mean, I know 11, like, this show is based around her. One of my least favorite characters. So I was, like, really rooting for Will and, like, like, the first time he comes on screen, he's painting this beautiful piece of artwork, and I would just think to myself, oh, that's interesting, because he wants to keep it a secret, and they're about to go meet Mike and
It's just Mike.
Is it just Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna go meet Mike at the airport. And so it's like, that's interesting. And then they go rollerblading. And I'm like, that's interesting. And the voice in my head keeps getting louder and louder. That's interesting. Until finally I'm like, that little boy. That little boy is a little gay. And he just cares about Mike so much. And the fact that it just flies right over Mike's head. But one of my favorite scenes is I guess it would be like two connecting scenes. Is when Will and Mike are talking in the van, the pizza van, on their way to Hawkins, or on their way to find 11. And Will gives him this grand speech of, 11 loves you. You're the core to our group, and blah 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 blah. And he's saying that 11 feels this way, and sure, she might, but what he means is, I feel this way. Mm-hmm. And you can see his brother Jonathan, you can see him driving in the front seat like, I can hear everything right now. And he looks in the rearview mirror. And, some people might have thought it was like a negative look or something, but you could just see it all over Jonathan's face, like, oh, my poor little gay brother. Like, he understands, like, immediately that Jonathan, or that Will has feelings for Mike, and that's scary for him, and that's scary for the 80s, and it's just a really huge thing. And then they get to this pizza place, and Jonathan, without saying, oh, I told you so, you're gay, or something like that, or like outing him or something, he talks to him, and he's just like, I love you, and I will be there for you, and if there's anything you need to talk about, you can talk to me. Like, I'm sorry that I wasn't there earlier for you. I was just in my own head and all this stuff, and it's a very sweet scene, and it makes Will cry, and it's just so cute, and I love it so much, and he's such a good big brother. He's such a great big brother. I love him. Yeah, I would give it a 10, because I enjoyed both flip-flops. I enjoyed Hawkins, and I enjoyed California. 11 was okay. Her Yoda training was alright. It was interesting, because you got to see her past and the memories that she had forgotten, but the best part about her little training sessions were Dr. Owens, the doctor who was always, like, just on her side, like, no, bro, she wants to leave. We gotta let her leave. She's not a prisoner. And then Papa was always very rude and very much a jailer. So. Yeah.
No, Owens was pretty good. You know what's funny? I remember at some point, either at the end of season 2 or season 3, thinking, I think I even mentioned it, like, Will's gay. Will's definitely gonna be gay.
He gives off that energy. Sometimes you come across a child, and they just give off an energy, and you're like,
you're one of us, kid.
One day, if you haven't figured it out yet.
But no, I forgot exactly what it was, but I think it was when he was still connected to, like, the Mind Flayer or whatever. If I recall, it was something to do with, like, Mike's connection to him as friends that helped him, like, get his shit under control.
It's like the end where they were at the high school after he had just been saved or something. Like, right before he sees the thing in the sky.
And I remember thinking to myself, this kid's got something going on. He's got something going on here. But yeah, so 7 and 10, 7 and 10 respectively.
7? I thought it was 8. You went down.
I went down.
Holy cow! You must not like this season very much.
I liked the season a lot. And I liked Will a lot, and his brother and Argyle. I just realized that the two other main characters I actually did not care for at all in this.
11?
11's story, I didn't really care. Mike's whole shit, didn't care at all about Mike.
Yeah, but poor Mike.
Nothing he did mattered.
Such a little turd.
He does nothing. All season.
He worries about 11 and runs around flailing. No, you gotta stay an 8, just for the fact that Dustin and Eddie love each other and have a weird fatherly brotherly love triangle bromance between Steve, Eddie, and Dustin, and it's so good.
That is a wonderful thing that happens. But we know who wins that one. Okay, I'm gonna keep it at 8. But let's go on to skill. Let's rate the skill. I'm gonna go also with probably an 8 on this one because, like I said, I think there was some pacing issues, but writing is impeccable. It always has been. Previous seasons as well. These children are written like just real punk ass kids, and it's perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they seem like kids who played D&D. By that I mean kids who definitely weren't popular and thought they were better than everyone, but also didn't have any friends other than themselves. So it's just right. And also, they introduced new characters in this, and immediately those characters were beloved by all. Which of course.
Yeah.
And the acting was phenomenal. Like the actors all came to play. Not to mention, so the acting, the writing was all great. There were some pacing issues, but the final nail of just goodness that was it all is they spend way more time in the Upside Down than in the previous seasons, and it looked amazing. Like the set design and the whole coordination of between costuming and everything was awesome. The big epic scene for Eddie on top of the fucking RV was one of the coolest looking things. Just period. It was so fucking cool. So skill wise, technical wise, solid 8, easy.
I give it a 9 because I agree that everyone's acting was phenomenal and just the story. I loved everything. I loved everything. They did play Running Up That Hill.
Too many.
2 more times maybe than was necessary, and because they could have kept it to just Max. They could have, because that's her song that helps her disconnect from Vecna, helps her get out of that awful upside down mind space. So when the camera is focused on her, or when she's having a moment with Vecna or something, you can play the song, but they didn't. They played it with every character, all the characters. It was in the background. Whether it was loud or was very soft playing in the background, it was always there. And you could have picked a different song. Pick a different song for, each character or something and play that when they're having a scene. But they didn't.
Yeah. I would have loved to know the other characters, in case of emergency song.
That would have been pretty cool. But I think that's see, I know it's a cliche, so I don't wanna give it less points because of it. Because it worked still. It still worked. It was a very good scene. But every time they introduce a new character, they kill him.
Yep. Got a bit of a trope going on.
So it's Barb died. Mom's
boyfriend?
Yeah. When I'm a writer. Judy. June. Well, I can't remember her name. It's a pretty simple name. Joyce. I knew it was a J.
Joyce's boyfriend, Samwise Gamgee.
Bob Newby.
Ah, yeah.
So, Barb dies, Bob dies. There's just so many characters that, they introduce, and you're like, I kind of like this person. And then they kill by the end of the season. And so when they introduced Eddie, I was kind of already expecting it. Didn't expect it to go that hard. So I did cry more than once, but yeah, like, part of me wishes they would have kept Eddie alive, but I know they had to kill him because it was such a strong, powerful scene, you know? Mm-hmm. And then in the aftermath with Dustin, it really, I don't know, it just worked so well killing off Eddie. I just wish it wouldn't have, I just wish it didn't have to be that way sometimes, you know?
See, here's the thing. If it wasn't Eddie, it would have had to have been someone else. Someone was going to die.
Yeah.
And it would have had to have been Steve, because then their father-son triangle would have been a triangle forever, and that can't happen.
I mean, they would have just moved away. But I think I'll give it a 9 because of the song kept playing and playing and playing and playing, and because of the fact that they kill every new character.
Yeah.
So it's a little predictable. It was sad, and it was a very good scene, but predictable. That we knew he would die. I thought somebody else was gonna die, but just him.
I mean, Max kind of died.
Yeah, maybe.
She's dead-ish. Yeah, I can agree with that wholeheartedly. Lastly, purpose. Just generally, did this season seem like it was trying to do something, and did it do that well? I think this might be where its lowest score comes in for me, because it seemed like there's a few things going on at the same time. Mm-hmm. They're trying to build the stakes while also setting up for the final climactic, this is the end season, where they're going to bring Vecna back to be like the final guy. It seemed like he's definitely not dead. So like, in terms of, did they do that? Yeah, they set up the ending, I think. They set up for season 5 very well. But I don't think that they did a great job of really like figuring out the world and what's going on. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of things going on in the background that made very little sense to me.
Like what?
Like the weird different military organizations that are all like fighting against each other to try and control 11 or whoever else. Like, there was a lot of stuff going on with that seemed like it could have been not resolved or anything, but like at least put together so that it either was more a part of the plot, like it was more important, or it just didn't need to be there. Because as far as the importance in the plot goes, it seemed like it was, they mostly just showed up to make people leave from wherever back to Hawkins, or to mess things up just generally, or to get killed so you can see 11 use her powers. Like that was about it. That whole fight didn't seem like it was meaningful, you know? And it felt like it was meant to do more with that, or that maybe you should have done more with that, and they didn't. So I don't think that was the best. Mm-hmm. The other thing, like setting the stakes or whatnot. And don't get me wrong, they introduced this cool character and they killed him off, but they've done that every season, so like it's not a huge deal. If they did mess up Max pretty badly, but she's not super dead, there's a chance she can come back. So like it seemed like everything that they did, like they were leading up to like this big like, there are real stakes in this show. There are characters that you love might die or whatever. But it all seemed at the end of it just kind of like teasing, like there could have been, but like not really. They're gonna come back. It's gonna be fine. No character that has been here since season 1 is gonna actually die.
I don't know. Haven't seen season 5 yet.
It's true. I'm not saying that it won't. I'm just saying that in terms of like the purpose of the season, to like set up those stakes, to like make it seem like that's what's going on. Mm-hmm. I don't think it did as good a job as it could have, because of the way it went. That's about all I've got really in terms of why I think this might be its lowest score for me. I'm gonna go with a 7 for purpose. What about you?
I'll probably give it a 9. Just because I think it said the things that it wanted to say, and they accomplished what they wanted. I understand that you know, it seemed like they were going to kill off more characters, make it seem, you know, like these characters are just human too. They're not like heroes or anything, like they can die. But I think they're having Eddie die and then having Max be put into a coma. Even though she's the only one from the core group who got hurt, really, I still think it felt good. Like, it felt like they're not safe. You know what I mean? I do feel like there was a scene where Nancy came into contact with Vecna, and he tells her, you know, give a message to 11 for me, which seemed a little off to me, because it didn't seem like through the whole season, it didn't seem like Vecna was the kind of guy who would host, I'll set you free as a message. He seemed like the kind of guy who was like, oh, you're dead now. I found you. So that was kind of weird, but the fact that they didn't kill any other core characters didn't feel like too big of a deal to me. I do understand also the second military group that was after 11. Like, there was the scientific, I don't know, what's the science military group that, you know, had her in the beginning, and so they gathered her again to reteach her these powers that she had lost, so that she can fight this bigger thing that they know is coming. And the I don't know, more serious, more aggressive, less sciencey, like they believe less in science and more in guns or something. Like they were very aggressive about, you know, getting 11 and killing her because she's the problem. Like, she's the reason all this is happening, which is kind of true. But they didn't really discuss, like, who sent them. It was just this, like, general who decided that 11 needed to die. Like, it didn't tell us, you know, the president or somebody of high power was like, you know, yeah, you gotta go kill this kid. So it did seem a little weird, but I mean,
I think the thing is that this season seemed like it was trying to clean things up, so that the next season would, you know, have everything ready for whatever big blowout is going to do. They dealt with the whole Russia thing. They've killed everyone there and, you know, resolved whatever is going on there. But, like, they didn't really, because why was this prison researching the Demogorgons and all this stuff? What government organization in America was like, let's do this? Like, it seemed like they were trying to finish those storylines by killing off this, you know, military group here and killing off that military group there, but they didn't do anything with, like, introducing, all right, here are the people who are actually in charge, who might come in season 5, but that seems like time that they're gonna waste that they could have done in season 4 without too much trouble. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying that I think this is what they were trying to do. I just don't think they did it as well as they could have. But that's, you know, side plot stuff. The main plot, obviously, they did amazing with.
Yeah. Well, I know that in the previous season, when Hopper gets teleported to Russia, it made me think that because of what happened in Hawkins, a portal opened up in Russia. Like, for some reason, it made me think that, you know, it kind of just rippled. Like, it just tore another portal into Russia, which doesn't really make any sense, but makes more sense than, I guess, Russia knowing about the Upside Down.
But it did that because they were, you know, doing stuff in season 3. You know, trying to get whatever's going on there.
Yeah,
so, like,
I don't know.
They were involved, and that's all I'm saying. Like, there was certain strings that seemed like they were trying to cut so they could have a, you know, more streamlined season 5, but it just made certain things a little messier. Like, there's the Demigorgons and the Mind Flayer that are currently left that were in Russia that escaped. That doesn't really get brought up.
I feel like we're missing something from season 3 that we're not remembering, and that it does make more sense with Russia. But I'm still gonna give it a 9.
That's very possible.
I'm still gonna give it a 9. I liked it. I liked the whole thing. I didn't really have a lot of problems with it. So there you go. I guess my last problem-ish thing would be that Steve deserves better than Nancy. Just because, you know,
Steve?
He has always been there for her, even in season 1, you know. He was kind of a douchebag, but he got his stuff together, and now he's a fan favorite. Now, like, everybody loves him, the kids love him. And, she picks Jonathan, who had been creeping on her with his camera, which, whatever, no big deal. She likes him. But, like, she didn't even break up with Steve. She just got mad at him and then started kissing Jonathan. And instead of Steve getting mad, he was like, okay, I understand. And then he finds out that there's monsters, and he runs back to this house to defeat this monster where his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend are. So, like, he risks his life for them, even though she kind of was mean to him.
Yeah.
And he's constantly taking care of the kids. And he wants this big group of kids and a wife, and he wants to travel in his RV and all this stuff. And she's, giving him lovey-dovey eyes, but in the end, when Jonathan shows up, she is like, oh my God, Jonathan, I love you so much. So good to see you. And yeah, it's her boyfriend, but, like, I don't know. I'm not saying I don't like Nancy. I'm just saying I think Steve could do better.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a possible reason why so many people on the internet are shipping Steve and Eddie, because that would have been so fun. But there's no way that Steve is gay. There's no way. There's no way. Like, he might have, like, bi-wife energy, but he himself is not. He's not gay. He doesn't give off that feeling. He gives off the feeling of he wants a wife and kids, a white picket fence. Like, he might let his wife peg him a little bit, but he'd be so nervous and so scared to actually, like, kiss a boy.
Mm-hmm. No, I think the thing is that Steve has single mom energy, and they can't let him end up with someone. He won't be a single mom anymore. At the end of the season, when he was watching Robin flirt with that girl, he was so proud. Such a proud mom. Like, you can't just stop that.
He deserves love too.
Alright, so let's calculate the final total. And our final score for season 4 of Stranger Things is a solid 8.3.
In reality, I would give it a 9 or a 10.
Sure, but our
combined
cumulative total, they heard your scores. They know what you give it. But together we give it an average of 8.3. Quite a phenomenal show.
Yes.
But that is kind of all I've got to say.
Yeah, I think we're all done here.
Well, then, thank you for watching, everyone, and goodbye.